What was your school's huge scandal? Principal had an affair with my APHM teacher. The school board came down hard on the teacher, and she was suspended for most of the year, which sucked because none of us passed the test. Principal got a slap on the wrist, though he ended up quitting at the end of the year. Boys dean got caught with a girl in his office. She was 17. It's the reason that office now has a window in the door. A geography teacher caught a history teacher banging his wife in the school library. The history teacher was his best man at the wedding. Also, a PE teacher threw a janitor through a door during class. It is regarded as one of the best schools in my country. Someone found an empty lube container in a couch in a classroom that was generally open. They got rid of the couch. A kid also drove a dirt bike through the halls and got arrested. We were on an episode of Sally Jesse Raphael as the next Columbine. A disgruntled employee, a teacher, possibly a long-term sub, that was only there for a little while, slipped on a piece of paper on the tile and broke her arm, headed to break up a fight. She told the story under anonymity as broke her arm breaking up a fight, and proceeded to talk about how unsafe and unmonitored the school was. The show sent someone with hidden camera glasses to walk in and show how easy access was for potential shooters. Dude walked all around the school and was never stopped. This is in small town Kentucky near Ft. Knox. When the show aired, they sent the school a copy of the episode and we watched it on the in-school TV system. Afterward, the school installed doors that locked from the outside and funneled all traffic through the front door and installed cameras everywhere. This was 1999 to 2000. I was a freshman. We had a ban on bringing our own bottles to school and could only purchase drinks from the school store because there was an alcohol problem. Kids would come to school with pretty much anything they could get their hands on and would start drinking in first period. One day, before the ban, they did a sweep in first period and had everyone open their water bottles and check what was inside. I think there were over 50 kids caught that day. We also had a problem with opioids. Ambulances were there at least twice a year to get someone that overdosed in the gym. We had a guy that would go into the bathrooms and smear his poop all over the walls and jerk off on all of the toilet paper. He'd destroy any bathroom that he went into and we wouldn't be able to use it for a couple of days. Our principal would get on the loudspeakers at school and announce that the poopertrator has struck again and tell us what bathroom not to use. This lasted for about 3 weeks. It was this 6'7" goth of a giant, probably weighing 350 plus pounds. He finally got caught in the act and had a chase through the entire school. Running through the lunchroom, down to the gym, just knocking anybody over who tried to get in his way. The football coach was finally able to tackle him after he sprinted through the school with poop on his hands for 15 plus minutes. A little more than a week after the Parkland shooting, our principal suddenly got on the intercom and told us to evacuate the building. We did. And we hadn't gone through proper evacuation procedures. So we all ended up all over the damn town. One kid literally ran all the way home, trying to figure out where we're supposed to go. We all assumed it was a potential bomb threat and got sent home for the day. Over the next week, the school changed their story about 4 times. So us students started freaking the frick out and started trying to figure out what exactly had happened to trigger the evacuation. But 2 things happened that finally made the situation escalate out of control. 1. The principal called us into an assembly and proceeded to blame us for the rumors, as though it was our fault they couldn't get their stories straight. 2. Students finally figured out that what had happened was that someone had accidentally left their sandwich in a locker overnight. Then someone smelled the rotting food, got a teacher, and that teacher panicked and caused the evacuation. I think a total of 7 people in all got fired by the time the dust settled. There was a female student in my class that by all accounts was your stereotypical social outcast. She would always appear to be exhausted and never focused on her studies in class. Then during our senior year of high school she disappeared. It wasn't until a few months after graduation that the reason appeared in the local papers. Apparently, she was escorting herself on the other side of the county since she could drive. To which she got caught in a local police sting on prostitution. When the authorities learned of her rage, they immediately jumped at the opportunity to make a deal with her. All crimes will appear on her juvenile record, to which would be sealed thereafter. For a complete list of her Johns with an emphasis on those that knew she was underage. Because of my volunteer work in the community, I knew a few of the local police officers who filled me in on some of the details that never made it to the papers. Some of the Johns included various government officials, clergymen, paramedics, various fields of doctors, and lots of teachers from throughout the county, 2 of which worked in our district and definitely knew who she was. I mean, I don't know if this counts, but one of our prefects got caught drinking in a bar, legally, in regular clothes. I know. How could he? And because of that the school took away his badge, and so in protest all our prefects lined up in front of the principal's office and handed in their badges. It was chaos. A contest of chicken between the school and the student leaders, and in the end the school blinked first and gave everyone back their badges. Edit. Huh. This did a bit better than I was expecting. The Phys. Ed. Teacher basketball coach, M, began an affair with the English teacher, F, his first year as coach. She left her husband, he only lasted 1 year. Another English teacher left her husband. The metal shop teacher. For the girls' Phys. Ed. Teacher, F. They moved in together just down the street from where I lived. An 11th grade student, M, got the algebra teacher pregnant. Mind you, this all happened in the same year. Oh. Those gloriously wicked 70s. Guy got blown by his GF in the floor of the biology section. Both 16-17. The floor was completely surrounded by glass. Even the top. You could see everything in it from every direction. There was just no place to hide. Our new high-tech library with fancy full glass front was like 5 meters in front of it. So someone eventually saw it. Didn't got in too much trouble. Though. Since this happened in probably the most liberal area in Germany. Our head of biology just gave them a VIP talk about the bees and birds. And some condoms. 7th grader trading hanky-panky for heroin. I guess this is one since it made the regional news. Was that a French teacher had vocabulary test where you would stand by the closed classroom door and he would quiz you on the repeated French vocabulary errors you made. If made the mistake again, he would lightly underhand toss a volleyball at the back of your head. A student had recorded on their phone, and once a parent found out, they went straight to the news. I know my mom started freaking out and my older brother said yes, he remembers it and it apparently improved vocabulary and grammar. In the space of 3 years, my former high school in a very wealthy, white, and rural area churned out the scandals. 1. The 60-year-old pay teacher was arrested for a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old. Served 5 years in prison. He was caught physically mailing nude photos of himself to an underage student's house, which the student's parents intercepted too. The history teacher was arrested when a cop pulled him and one of his students over. Found drugs in the car and they were both high. Turns out he was supplying coke to students. He had to serve a decent chunk of time. 3. The 40-plus-year-old volleyball coach married one of his players the second she turned 18 and no one said did anything when they were dating when she was 15/16. A girl killed herself. And school tried hiding it. Some kids climbed on the roof and a boy sprayed just one kiss on the side of the building in big letters cause he was in unrequited love. The school board thought it was a courageous gesture and left it up. 4 years. Possibly forever. Cause it was up for the entire 6 years I went to school there. After a snowfall I quickly gathered my squad of friends and made boulder-sized snowballs. Then we placed them so if you looked out from the upper windows it was a big penis. Even got 2 teachers to help who just wanted to connect with us. They didn't realize what they had assisted with until the entire teacher faculty poured out from the building like angry wasps. The gym was called The Rock. Showed up one morning and the R was replaced with a C. This was on a huge gym, so it took some time to take down. Good one. At our high school, a dude was caught wanking in the back of class. Multiple times. And then a school nearby had a student kill themselves in the commons on the day of their football matchup vs us. The game was supposed to be at their school, but they moved it to ours because of all the police stuff. We were on an undefeated season and weren't gonna lose. But we all felt really bad about winning. There were a couple of kids from our school that made jokes that the other student killed himself because he was afraid of facing our football team. Needless to say, they were quickly sorted out. Not sure if anyone remembers this on the news. About 5 years ago, UK teacher was real life Breaking Bad meth lab in the basement claiming it was a friend's. A history teacher was caught pleasuring himself under his desk to a class full of 6th formers. Welsh teacher was selling weed out of her classroom too. Underfunded education, hahaha. This was like a year or 2 after Columbine. One kid that was smart. AP classes. Band and overall nerd with a bright future decided to do a Dumbus bomb threat. He wrote on a piece of paper "bomb in room" and put it against the window. Ruined his life. Saw him years later and he was working min wage or maybe slightly over. Didn't graduate high school and was working on his GED. Oh, my senior year we had a freshman that knocked up multiple girls. They took him on Maury and he was the father. Our principal's son was mentally ill. One night, they were all gathered in the school office. Son comes in with a grenade in his hand because of family issues. Police were called and only 2 police officers arrived. After police 1 and 2 arrive, some more policemen came by. The late policeman wrongly identified police 1 and shot him, mistakenly thinking he was the mentally ill son with the grenade. Police 1 happens to be a father of 2 children. Those 2 study in our school. Police 1 is dead now because of blood loss and the mentally ill son is now in jail. Those 2 kids get free tuition from the school since they effed up big time. When our headmaster, who'd pretty much started our private school from scratch 25 years earlier, was arrested for embezzlement. The way they explained it was there'd been some disorganization in the paperwork. However, our headmaster taught the advanced math class, so there's no way he would mess up the numbers on his paperwork consistently. At least not without actively trying to. Guy and his girlfriend lure a 10th grader to the school after hours. They are on acid and pretend to be natural born killers and hold her down and stab her 11 times. My friend finds her body opening the window in math class the morning after. This was 25 years ago and she is out of jail and back around the community. The guy is still in jail, I believe. Edit number of times the poor girl was stabbed. IDK if this counts, but 2 students at my school made a hanky panky tape and the video spread like crazy. Everyone watched it and some people would watch it at school with friends like WTF. The teachers had to keep telling students that it was illegal to have the video and if we got caught sending it to others we'd be in serious trouble. After the school closed down, a bunch of students came out saying the English teacher and her husband frequently sexually assaulted students, both male and female. A letter was written to the prosecutor's office and everything. There's been countless stories that have come out about it. We legitimately had 21 Jump Street at my school. 2 undercover cops, a guy with a mohawk and a normally looking girl, went to the high school with us for an entire school year. And at the end of the year arrested over 20 kids in drug related charges. One of my friends got arrested, 16, for introducing one of the cops to a dealer. Called himself a broker, lol. My high school was the one where the mother was so upset that her daughter got passed over for the cheerleading team that she hired a hitman to kill the rival girl and her mother. HBO made a movie out of it starring Holly Hunter and Beau Bridges. In middle school, we had some rumors spread around that a certain gym teacher, MRS, J was peeping on girls undressing. These rumors spread and got pretty vicious. People started saying that MRS. J tried to get girls alone in the locker room and had a type that she'd go after. We had a school-wide assembly where the principal berated the students for spreading these unsubstantiated rumors and how hurtful and disrespectful it was to MRS. J and our teachers. 2 years later. MRS. J was arrested for molesting 3 girls that year alone. Many other former students came out about similar experiences. Some dating back 15+ years prior to her arrest. Edit. Clarification edit 2. Stop asking if this was in your state city. I'm not telling you.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.